At some point in life, there's a quiet realization that changes everything. The moment you understand that no one is coming to save you. Not your circumstances, not your past, not your luck. Most people spend years waiting for motivation, waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for someone or something to change their life. But the people who truly transform are the ones who accept one powerful truth. Their life is their responsibility. This audiobook is not about blame. It is about ownership. The kind of ownership that gives you control instead of excuses, clarity instead of confusion, and power instead of helplessness. When you take responsibility for your thoughts, your actions, and your direction, something shifts inside you. You stop reacting. You start creating. Before we begin this journey, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Audio Vibes, and share it with someone who is ready to take control of their life. Your support helps this channel reach people who are ready for real change. Now, settle in, let your mind open, and step into the mindset that changes everything, the power of personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility is one of the most misunderstood ideas in self-development. Many people hear it and immediately feel pressure, blame, or guilt. They assume it means taking responsibility for everything that goes wrong, even things beyond their control. But true personal responsibility is not about self-criticism. It is about self-empowerment. When you take personal responsibility, you stop waiting for life to change on its own. You stop expecting people, circumstances, or luck to rescue you. Instead, you recognize a powerful truth. While you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond, what you learn, and who you become. Most people feel stuck not because they lack ability, but because they unconsciously give their power away. They blame time, the economy, their past, other people, or their emotions. This may feel comforting in the moment, but it slowly weakens confidence and direction. Responsibility does the opposite. It restores control. It brings clarity. It creates momentum. This audiobook is designed to help you understand personal responsibility in a practical, balanced way, not as pressure, but as freedom. You will learn how responsibility strengthens mindset, improves decision-making, and builds a sense of inner authority that reduces stress instead of increasing it. As you listen, allow yourself to reflect honestly. There is no judgment here, only awareness. Only growth. Personal responsibility is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming conscious of your choices, your reactions, and your direction. By the end of this audiobook, you will see responsibility differently, not as a burden, but as the foundation of confidence, discipline, and long-term transformation. Chapter 1: Owning Your Life Completely. Personal responsibility begins with a difficult but liberating truth. Everything in your life improves the moment you stop waiting for someone else to change it. Not your parents, not your boss, not the economy, not circumstances, you. Most people don't reject responsibility openly. Instead, they delay it. They say things like, "Once things settle down," or "once I get more time," or "once someone gives me a chance." These thoughts feel reasonable, but they quietly place control outside the self. And the moment control leaves you, power leaves with it. Owning your life does not mean blaming yourself for everything that has gone wrong. It means recognizing that from this moment forward, your response is your responsibility. When you accept this, something profound happens. You stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start acting like life is happening through you. Personal responsibility is not heavy. Avoiding it is. In this chapter, we will explore 3 key parts that break this concept down clearly and practically. Part 1. The cost of blame and excuses. Blame feels comforting in the short term. It gives the mind a place to rest. If someone else is responsible, then you don't have to feel the discomfort of change. But over time, blame becomes expensive. It costs confidence. It costs momentum. It costs self-respect. When you blame circumstances, you give them authority over your future. When you blame people, you give them power over your emotions. Responsibility takes that power back. Many people confuse responsibility with guilt. They are not the same. Guilt focuses on the past. Responsibility focuses on the present. It asks one simple question: what can I do next? Let me tell you a story. A man from Birmingham worked as a mid-level manager in a manufacturing company. For years, he felt stuck. He blamed the company for not promoting him, the economy for limited opportunities, and his workload for lack of personal growth. None of these reasons were false, but none of them were useful. One evening, after another frustrating day, he asked himself a different question. Not why is this happening to me, but what part of this am I allowing? That question changed everything. He realized he had stopped developing new skills. He avoided difficult conversations. He waited to be noticed instead of positioning himself to be valuable. Nothing external changed immediately, but internally, responsibility returned to him. He began learning outside work hours. He volunteered for challenging tasks. Within 2 years, his career trajectory shifted completely, not because life became fair, but because he became accountable. Responsibility didn't trap him, it freed him.
Part 2. Taking control without becoming harsh on yourself. One common mistake people make when they accept responsibility is becoming overly critical. They turn accountability into self-attack. This is not strength, it is punishment disguised as discipline. True responsibility is calm, it is steady. It says, "This is mine to handle," not "this is all my fault." When something goes wrong, a responsible mindset asks, "What can I learn? What can I adjust? What is within my control right now?" It does not spiral into shame. Think of responsibility as ownership, not judgment. When you own a house, you don't shame the house when something breaks. You repair it, you maintain it, you improve it over time. The same approach applies to your life. Here is a powerful reframe. You are not responsible for where you started. You are responsible for where you go next. This mindset removes helplessness. It restores agency, and agency is the foundation of confidence. Part 3. Responsibility as the source of power and growth. When you fully accept responsibility, decision-making becomes clearer. You stop waiting for permission. You stop hoping someone will save you. You begin acting with intention. Personal responsibility simplifies life. Instead of asking, "What if?" you ask, "What now?" Instead of replaying the past, you design the next step. A simple but effective daily practice is this. At the end of each day, ask yourself one question. Did my actions today move me closer to the person I want to become? No judgment, just honesty. Responsibility also strengthens resilience. When challenges arise, you no longer collapse into frustration. You adapt, you respond, you move forward. This creates emotional maturity, the ability to remain grounded even when circumstances are not ideal. The most respected people in any field share this trait. They do not outsource responsibility. They do not live in excuses. They take ownership
quietly and consistently. And over time, life responds. Owning your life is not about control over everything. It is about control over your choices, your effort, and your response. When you accept that power, you stop being reactive. You stop being passive. You become intentional. This is the foundation of transformation. Without personal responsibility, no habit sticks, no mindset lasts, and no growth sustains. With it, progress becomes inevitable. In the next chapter, we will explore how responsibility transforms mindset and self-trust, and why accountability to yourself is the key to long-term confidence. For now, remember this: the moment you take responsibility, you take your power back. Chapter 2: Ending the Blame Cycle. One of the biggest barriers to personal responsibility is blame. Not loud blame, not dramatic accusations, but quiet, subtle blame that lives inside the mind. Blame that sounds reasonable, blame that feels justified, blame that slowly steals power without being noticed. Blame is comforting. It gives the mind relief. When something goes wrong, blaming circumstances, other people, the system, or even bad luck protects the ego from discomfort. It removes responsibility, and with it, the pressure to change. But this comfort comes at a cost. The cost is control. The moment blame enters your thinking, growth pauses. Because if something is not your responsibility, it is not yours to improve. Ending the blame cycle is not about guilt or self-criticism. It is about reclaiming authority over your life. In this chapter, we will explore 3 key parts that break this concept down clearly and practically. Part 1: How blame becomes a habit. Blame rarely begins as a conscious choice. It forms gradually through repetition. A missed opportunity is blamed on timing. A failed relationship is blamed on the other person. A stagnant career is blamed on the economy. Over time, the mind learns a pattern. It's not my fault. At first, this feels harmless, even logical. Sometimes circumstances really are unfair. But when blame becomes the default explanation, it shapes identity. You begin to see yourself as someone reacting to life instead of directing it. Agency fades quietly. The problem is not acknowledging difficulty. The problem is stopping there. Growth requires a different question, not who caused this, but what part of this is within my control. Even in unfair situations, there is almost always a controllable response, and that response is where power lives. Blame keeps you emotionally comfortable, but strategically weak. Responsibility may feel heavier at first, but it makes progress possible. Part 2: Why blame feels safer than responsibility. Responsibility demands action. Blame does not. Responsibility requires reflection, adjustment, and sometimes uncomfortable honesty. Blame allows stagnation without self-examination. This is why the mind prefers it. When you accept responsibility, you accept the possibility that you could have acted differently. That awareness can be uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. Because if you could have acted differently, you can act differently next time. Many people fear responsibility because they confuse it with self-attack. But responsibility is not saying, everything is my fault. It is saying, this is my life, and I have influence over it. Responsibility does not deny external challenges. It simply refuses to let them define the outcome. Part 3: Reclaiming control through ownership. Ending the blame cycle requires a conscious shift in language and perspective. Small changes create large internal shifts. Instead of, "This job doesn't appreciate me," ask, "What skills or actions would increase my value here or elsewhere?" Instead of, "I don't have time," ask, "What am I choosing to prioritize instead?" Instead of, "They made me feel this way," ask, "How am I interpreting this situation?" This is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about being honest. Ownership transforms frustration into strategy. Let me share a story that illustrates this shift clearly. A man from Denver worked in sales for nearly 8 years. He felt stuck. Promotions passed him by. Younger colleagues advanced faster. In conversations, his explanations were consistent. Management was biased, the market was bad, opportunities were limited. All of it sounded reasonable. One evening, after another disappointing review, he decided to record his daily activities for a week. Not to judge, just to observe. What he noticed surprised him. He avoided difficult clients. He rarely asked for feedback. He stopped learning once he felt competent. None of these behaviors were obvious day to day, but together they explained everything. The moment he accepted this was uncomfortable, but it was also empowering. He didn't need luck, he needed change. Over the next year, he deliberately sought feedback, upgraded his skills, and took responsibility for results instead of circumstances. His role changed, but more importantly, his mindset did. He no longer felt stuck, he felt in control. Ending the blame cycle does not mean life becomes easy. It means life becomes workable. Problems turn into challenges. Frustration turns into clarity. Responsibility turns effort into progress. This shift changes how you see setbacks. Instead of asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" That single change alters your entire trajectory. Personal responsibility is not a burden. It is freedom disguised as effort. For now, remember this. Blame gives relief. Responsibility gives results.
Chapter 3: Taking ownership of your thoughts and emotions. Personal responsibility reaches its deepest level when it moves beyond actions and enters the inner world. Most people believe responsibility is only about what they do, their work, their behavior, their decisions. But the truth is, the quality of your life is shaped just as much by what happens inside you as by what happens outside you. Your thoughts, emotional reactions, and internal narratives quietly direct your choices long before action takes place. Many people feel controlled by their emotions. Stress appears suddenly. Anger rises automatically. Anxiety takes over without permission. When this happens repeatedly, life begins to feel unpredictable and overwhelming. But emotions are not forces that happen to you. They are responses that arise within you, and with awareness and practice, they can be guided rather than feared. Taking responsibility for your thoughts and emotions does not mean suppressing them. It means recognizing that while you may not control the first emotional reaction, you do control how long it stays, how deeply it affects you, and what you choose to do next. This shift is where emotional maturity begins. In this chapter, we will explore 3 key parts that break this concept down clearly and practically. Part 1. Understanding that you are not your thoughts. One of the most freeing realizations in personal growth is understanding that thoughts are not facts. They are mental events, temporary, changeable, and often influenced by mood, fatigue, or past experiences.
Yet most people treat their thoughts as absolute truth. A stressful thought appears and it is immediately believed. A critical inner voice speaks and it becomes identity. A fearful prediction forms and it feels inevitable. But thoughts are suggestions, not commands. When you learn to observe your thoughts instead of merging with them, you create psychological distance. This distance allows clarity. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin responding intentionally. You stop asking, "Why do I feel like this?" and start asking, "Is this thought helping or harming me right now?" This does not require positive thinking, it requires accurate thinking. You are not trying to replace every negative thought. You are learning not to let unexamined thoughts control your direction.
Part 2. Emotional responsibility without self-blame. Taking responsibility for emotions does not mean blaming yourself for feeling them. Emotions arise for reasons: unmet needs, perceived threats, exhaustion, or past conditioning. The problem begins when emotions are treated as excuses rather than signals. When someone says, "I snapped because I was stressed," or "I avoided it because I felt anxious," they are handing control to emotion. Responsibility means acknowledging the feeling and choosing a response that aligns with your values rather than your impulse. You allow the emotion to exist without letting it dictate behavior. A powerful technique is emotional labeling. When you name an emotion calmly, frustration, disappointment, fear, its intensity decreases. The nervous system settles. The rational mind regains influence. Another practice is response delay. When emotions rise, you pause, not to suppress, but to stabilize. That pause is the space where responsibility lives. Part 3. Building emotional ownership through awareness and practice. Emotional ownership is built through repeated moments of awareness. Each time you notice an emotional reaction and choose not to act impulsively, you strengthen self-control. Over time, emotional stability becomes a trait rather than an effort. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this deeply. A woman from Boston worked as a senior marketing strategist in a fast-growing company. Her role was demanding and the environment was competitive. She was intelligent, capable, and ambitious, but emotionally reactive. Feedback felt personal. Pressure triggered anxiety. She often replayed conversations in her mind long after they ended. At first, she believed her stress came from the job, but after a particularly intense week, she noticed something important. The same situation affected her far more than her colleagues. That realization was uncomfortable but transformative. She decided to stop blaming circumstances and start observing her internal responses. She began a simple practice. When strong emotions appeared, she wrote down the thought behind them. Over time, patterns emerged. She noticed self-critical narratives and worst-case assumptions. Slowly, she challenged them, not harshly, but honestly. She practiced pausing before responding. She learned to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. Months later, her external world looked the same job, same pressure, but her internal experience was completely different. She felt calmer, clearer, and more grounded. Her confidence grew not because stress disappeared, but because she stopped being controlled by it. That is emotional responsibility in action. Taking responsibility for your thoughts and emotions changes the quality of your entire life. You stop feeling like a victim of moods and circumstances. You stop outsourcing control to stress, fear, or frustration. You begin acting from clarity rather than reaction. This level of responsibility is not about perfection. You will still feel emotional. You will still have difficult thoughts. The difference is that you no longer let them decide who you become. For now, remember this. You cannot control every thought or emotion, but you can always choose how you respond, and that choice defines your growth. Chapter 4. Responsibility creates freedom. Many people believe responsibility limits freedom. They see it as pressure, obligation, or weight placed on their shoulders. They imagine freedom as the absence of responsibility. No expectations, no accountability, no consequences. But this belief quietly keeps them stuck. In reality, the opposite is true. Responsibility is what creates freedom. When you take responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your reactions, you regain control over your life. You stop waiting for permission, validation, or rescue. You stop blaming circumstances, people, or the past. And in that moment, your power returns to you. Freedom does not come from avoiding responsibility. Freedom comes from owning it. In this chapter, we will explore 3 key parts that break this concept down clearly and practically. Part 1. The illusion of freedom without responsibility. At first glance, avoiding responsibility feels freeing. You tell yourself that the problem is the economy, the job market, your upbringing, your manager, or your lack of opportunities. This removes pressure. It protects the ego, but it also removes power. Because if something is not your responsibility, then it is also not within your control. Many people live in this state without realizing it. They feel frustrated, stressed, and trapped, yet they cannot explain why. The reason is simple. They have outsourced control of their life to external forces. When life goes wrong, they wait for it to improve on its own. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this clearly. A man from Birmingham worked in sales for nearly a decade. He disliked his job, but stayed because it felt safe. Whenever he felt unhappy, he blamed the company, the industry, or bad management. He waited for things to change. Years passed and nothing improved. His frustration grew, not because his situation was impossible, but because he felt powerless. One day, after missing another promotion, he realized something uncomfortable. No one was stopping him from learning new skills. No one was forcing him to stay. The only thing holding him back was his refusal to take responsibility for his dissatisfaction. That realization was painful, but freeing. He began studying after work, improved his communication skills, and applied for roles outside his company. Within 2 years, his life looked completely different. The moment he accepted responsibility, freedom followed.
Part 2. Responsibility gives you control over outcomes. When you take responsibility, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about this?" This shift changes everything. You move from being reactive to proactive. You begin shaping outcomes instead of enduring them. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for everything. It means focusing on what is within your control. You cannot control other people's behavior, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control your preparation, effort, and mindset. This is where stress begins to decrease, when you stop trying to control what is uncontrollable and start mastering what is controllable. Clarity replaces anxiety. A woman from Seattle worked as a high school teacher and constantly felt overwhelmed. She blamed the system, the workload, and lack of support. All of those things were real, but they were not fully within her control. Once she shifted her focus to what she could control, her boundaries, her planning, her energy, her experience changed. She became calmer, more confident, and more effective. Her external environment remained challenging, but her internal world stabilized. Responsibility does not remove difficulty, it removes helplessness. Part 3. Building a life based on ownership. Living responsibly is not about being perfect. It is about being honest. Honest about your habits,
honest about your choices, honest about where you are and where you want to go. Ownership creates clarity, and clarity creates progress. Taking responsibility also strengthens self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, when you follow through on commitments, and when you own mistakes instead of hiding from them, confidence grows naturally. Not the loud kind, the quiet, grounded kind. Here is a simple practice that builds responsibility without pressure. At the end of each day, ask yourself one question. What is one thing today that I handled well? And one more. What is one thing I can handle better tomorrow? This keeps responsibility constructive, not heavy. Let me share one final story. A woman from New York worked in marketing and struggled with constant self-doubt. She avoided challenges because she feared failure. Deep down, she blamed her confidence issues on past experiences. One day, she decided to take responsibility for her growth. Not overnight, not dramatically. She started volunteering for small tasks she used to avoid. She accepted discomfort. She owned mistakes publicly instead of hiding them. Over time, something shifted. Her confidence was no longer dependent on praise or outcomes. It came from knowing she could handle whatever came next. Responsibility became her foundation, not her burden. Responsibility is not punishment. It is permission. Permission to change, permission to grow, permission to become the person you respect. When you take responsibility, life stops happening to you and starts happening through you. You regain direction, you regain confidence, you regain freedom. For now, remember this: the moment you take responsibility for your life, you take back your power.
Chapter 5. Taking ownership of your future. At some point, personal responsibility must move beyond awareness and become ownership. Awareness is knowing that your choices matter. Ownership is acting on that knowledge consistently, even when it feels uncomfortable. This is where true transformation happens. Many people understand responsibility intellectually, but hesitate to fully embrace it in their daily lives. They wait for certainty, permission, or perfect conditions. Ownership requires none of these. It requires decision. Taking ownership of your future means accepting a powerful truth: no one is coming to rescue you. This is not a negative realization, it is a liberating one. The moment you stop waiting for external validation, ideal circumstances, or someone else to fix things, you reclaim your power. Your future stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you actively shape. Ownership is not about blaming yourself for everything that went wrong in the past. It is about recognizing that regardless of what happened before, you still have agency over what happens next. The past may explain you, but it does not define you unless you allow it to. In this chapter, we will explore 3 key parts that break this concept down clearly and practically. Part 1. Moving from intention to commitment. Many people live in a state of intention. They intend to improve their health, their career, their relationships, or their mindset. Intention feels productive, but without commitment, it changes nothing. Commitment is intention paired with action, especially when motivation fades. Taking ownership means committing to decisions even when outcomes are uncertain. It means choosing growth before comfort and responsibility before convenience. Commitment removes the constant mental negotiation that drains energy. Instead of repeatedly asking, "Should I?" you begin asking, "How?" This shift simplifies life. Decisions become aligned with values rather than emotions. When commitment is clear, excuses lose their power.
You stop waiting to feel ready and start acting, because readiness is built through action, not thought. Ownership begins the moment you say, "This matters enough for me to act, even imperfectly."
Part 2. Designing decisions that serve the future you. Every day, you make choices that either reinforce your current situation or move you toward a better future. Most of these choices feel small. What you focus on, how you respond to stress, whether you follow through or delay. Over time, these small decisions compound into identity and outcomes. Taking ownership of your future requires learning to make decisions from a long-term perspective. Instead of asking, "What feels good right now?" you begin asking, "What will I thank myself for later?" This perspective transforms discipline from punishment into self-respect. Let me share a story that illustrates this deeply. A woman from Denver worked in a stable but unfulfilling corporate role. She wasn't miserable, but she felt disconnected from her potential. For years, she talked about changing careers, learning new skills, and creating more meaningful work. But she waited, waiting for confidence, waiting for clarity, waiting for the right moment. Eventually, she realized something important. The future she wanted required decisions her current self was avoiding. She didn't quit her job overnight. Instead, she began making ownership-based decisions. She enrolled in evening courses. She protected her weekends for learning. She stopped blaming time and started managing it intentionally. The transformation was not dramatic at first, but over 2 years, those ownership-driven decisions reshaped her skills, her confidence, and her opportunities. When she finally transitioned careers, it didn't feel risky, it felt inevitable. Her future changed because she consistently chose responsibility over comfort. Part 3. Sustaining ownership through consistency and self-trust. Taking ownership once is powerful. Sustaining it is transformative. This requires consistency and self-trust. Consistency is not about doing everything perfectly. It is about continuing even when progress feels slow. Self-trust is built through keeping small promises to yourself repeatedly. When you follow through on what you say you will do, your confidence grows naturally. You no longer rely on external validation. You become internally grounded. This internal stability is what allows responsibility to feel empowering rather than heavy. There will be moments of doubt. There will be setbacks. Ownership does not mean you never fail. It means you don't abandon yourself when things get hard. You adjust, you learn, you continue. A simple daily practice supports this mindset. At the end of each day, reflect on one decision you made that aligned with your future self. No matter how small, acknowledge it. This reinforces identity and strengthens commitment. Taking ownership of your future is the ultimate expression of personal responsibility. It is the point where awareness turns into action and intention becomes reality. When you fully embrace ownership, excuses lose relevance, fear loses authority, and growth becomes inevitable. Your future is not created by dramatic moments. It is created by consistent decisions made quietly, daily, and intentionally. Each time you choose responsibility, you step closer to the life you want, not someday, but steadily. As this chapter concludes, remember this truth. You don't need permission to take ownership of your life. You only need the courage to begin. You've now reached the end of this audiobook, but what you've learned here is not meant to end. It is meant to begin something new inside you. Personal responsibility is not about blame, it is about ownership. Ownership of your thoughts, your actions, your reactions,
and ultimately your life. When you take responsibility, you take back control. You stop waiting for circumstances to change. You stop giving power to excuses, to the past, or to other people's behavior. You realize that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can always control how you respond, how you grow, and how you move forward. This mindset changes everything. It turns problems into challenges, mistakes into lessons, and uncertainty into opportunity. Remember, responsibility does not mean pressure, it means freedom. The freedom to choose differently, the freedom to improve, the freedom to become someone stronger, calmer, and more capable with each passing day. Take one idea from this audiobook and apply it today. Not perfectly, not all at once, just intentionally. Growth happens through small, consistent choices made with awareness. If this audiobook helped you reflect, refocus, or regain control, please like this video, subscribe to Audio Vibes, and share it with someone who needs this message. Your support allows us to keep creating long-form content designed to guide real inner change. Thank you for spending this time with us. Stay mindful, stay responsible, keep growing, and we will see you in the next audiobook from Audio Vibes.